You pack a little snack for the flight, a sandwich, maybe some fruit, no big deal, right? Think again. In 2025, bringing food on a plane isn't as simple as it used to be. TSA and airlines have tightened restrictions, and what was fine last year could now get you flagged, fined, or forced to toss your meal at security. After talking to TSA insiders, flight attendants, and even customs agents, we uncovered 10 surprising food rules you must know. And trust me, number 3 shocks even frequent flyers. Let's jump in. 1. Fresh fruits and vegetables. It looks healthy, just an apple or banana for the flight. But TSA and customs treat fresh produce as a biohazard. In 2025, strict agricultural rules mean even a single orange can cause a $500 fine if you're caught crossing borders. Fruits and veggies can carry pests and diseases that spread quickly in new environments. That's why international flights have stepped up inspections. Even on domestic routes, TSA agents are now told to double-check produce in carry-ons. A retiree traveling from Florida to California was forced to toss out her packed salad at security, then fined on arrival because an apple slipped through her bag. If you want fruit, slice it and pack it in a sealed, labeled container under 12 Oz, or buy it after security inside the terminal. But if you think tossing an apple is bad, wait until you hear how your peanut butter sandwich can get flagged as a liquid. 2. Peanut butter and soft foods. Creamy peanut butter, yogurt cups, hummus. These feel like safe snacks. Wrong. TSA now classifies peanut butter and spreadables as liquids or gels. If it's spreadable, it falls under the 3.4 Oz liquid rule. This started after incidents where gels were tested for explosives. In 2025, TSA doubled down, listing peanut butter, soft cheese, and dips as security risks. A senior couple on a cross-country trip had their bag pulled aside because of a small peanut butter jar. It delayed them 20 minutes while TSA tested the container. Bring sealed single-serve packets under 3.4 Oz or switch to solid snacks like crackers or granola bars. Anything bigger? Pack it in checked luggage. But if you think spreads are tricky, wait until you hear about the coffee and tea rule. It catches even seasoned travelers. 3. Coffee, tea, and powders. Maybe you like carrying your own coffee grounds or protein shake powder. TSA sees powders as potential chemical threats. In 2025, the limit is strict. Over 12 Oz triggers extra screening. Powders can mimic explosives on X-ray scans. That's why protein powder, drink mixes, or even baby formula face more scrutiny now than ever. A traveler reported being held 30 minutes in Denver because her matcha tea powder set off alarms. Keep powders under 12 Oz, label them clearly, and separate them in a bin when going through security. For larger quantities, always check your bag. Next up, your homemade meals might not even make it past the gate. 4. Home-cooked meals and leftovers. You pack a home-cooked meal for comfort, maybe soup, curry, or leftovers from last night. Soups, stews, or saucy foods? TSA flags them as liquids. Even tightly sealed Tupperware can be tossed. Any food with liquid consistency falls under the 3.4 Oz rule. TSA treats it the same way they treat shampoo or lotion. One traveler tried to bring homemade chicken curry for her husband. Security forced her to throw it out at the checkpoint. Stick to solid meals, sandwiches, wraps, or dry snacks. If you must carry liquid-based food, freeze it solid. TSA allows frozen items if completely frozen at screening. But believe it or not, your fancy airport-bought snacks can still get you in trouble. 5. Alcohol and duty-free food items. Think buying duty-free wine, cheese, or chocolates guarantees safe boarding. Not always. TSA rules clash with customs rules. Wine bottles over 140 proof, completely banned. Some cheeses melt into the liquid category. Alcohol over 70% ABV is classified as hazardous material. Certain dairy-based foods also spoil fast, making them a food safety risk. A traveler bought French camembert duty-free, only to have it confiscated at U.S. Customs because it was too soft and undeclared. Stick to sealed, packaged items with clear labels, and always declare alcohol or specialty foods when arriving internationally. And the final food trap? It's hidden in the ice you thought was keeping things safe. 6. Ice and gel packs. Packing perishable food? The first instinct is to toss in an ice pack or gel pack to keep things cool. It feels harmless, but TSA doesn't see it that way. In 2025, the rule is crystal clear. If your ice pack is even slightly slushy, it counts as a liquid and will be confiscated. This happens because partially melted ice shows up on scanners the same way other liquid explosives do. TSA can't take the risk, so they treat it under the same 3.4 OZ liquid rule. What many travelers don't realize is that this doesn't just apply to picnic-style snacks. It also affects passengers carrying essential medications that must stay cold. A diabetic traveler flying through Dallas reported having her gel packs taken away because they weren't frozen solid. It caused panic until the airline finally provided an emergency cooler on board. To avoid this nightmare, freeze packs completely before you head to the airport. Shake them. If they move, they're not solid enough. For medical needs, bring a doctor's note and ask your airline about onboard storage. But if you thought ice was strict, the next item is even more frustrating: plain, bottled water. 7. Bottled water and beverages. Everyone knows you can't breeze through security with a water bottle. But in 2025, enforcement has gotten harsher than ever. Even brand new, unopened bottled water is automatically confiscated at checkpoints. TSA agents have been instructed to allow no exceptions unless the liquid falls into narrow medical categories. Why? Liquids remain one of the biggest security concerns. Tests show that explosive compounds can be disguised in drinks, so every bottle, no matter how innocent, gets flagged. Sports drinks, energy drinks, smoothies, and even sealed iced coffee all face the same fate. One traveler in Chicago O'Hare complained after TSA confiscated her unopened Gatorade, despite it being purchased the night before. She had to buy a new one inside the terminal at triple the price. The rule is simple: no liquids over 3.4 Oz, even sealed ones. The only exceptions are baby formula, breast milk, and certain medical solutions. Even then, expect extra screening. The workaround? Bring an empty reusable bottle and fill it up after security. But if you think water is predictable, wait until you hear about restrictions on meats and cheeses. 8. Meat and cheese products. Packing meats or cheeses for the trip sounds like a tasty plan, until you learn the rules. In 2025, TSA may let certain items through domestically, but customs officers worldwide have tightened their grip on animal products. The reason is disease control. Meats can spread illnesses like foot and mouth disease, while soft cheeses spoil quickly and may carry harmful bacteria. These aren't just minor risks. They can create outbreaks if not tightly regulated. That's why so many travelers are shocked when pricey food gets seized. A passenger flying home from Italy proudly brought vacuum-sealed prosciutto and artisanal cheese. TSA allowed it through in Rome, but U.S. Customs confiscated everything at JFK, citing agricultural restrictions. Not only did she lose her food, she also faced a warning fine. The rules vary by country, but the safe bet is factory-sealed, shelf-stable products with clear labeling. Hard cheeses and processed meats are safer bets. But if you want to bring fresh, raw, or specialty goods, don't risk it. Declare them or expect to lose them. And if meats and cheeses are confusing, hot meals bring a whole new set of problems. 9. Hot meals and takeout. Airport takeout feels like a traveler's lifesaver. You grab some food before boarding, expecting to eat it on the plane. But in 2025, TSA and airlines have added restrictions that make hot meals surprisingly risky. The big issue? Sauces, soups, or liquid-heavy dishes. TSA flags anything with a liquid base as part of the 3.4 Oz rule. That means curry bowls, noodle soups, or chili often don't pass screening. Even sealed containers aren't safe if they slosh around. But it doesn't stop there. Airlines are now cracking down on cabin comfort. Strong-smelling foods or messy meals are being denied at boarding. Passengers report being asked to finish or throw away aromatic takeout before stepping on. A traveler in Los Angeles bought Chinese takeout before her Tokyo flight. TSA cleared part of it but confiscated the saucy noodles. When she tried to board with the rest, a flight attendant told her the meal wasn't allowed because of odor complaints. The safest choice is simple. Stick to dry, solid foods like wraps, sandwiches, or rice bowls. But if hot meals are tricky, the next rule might shock you. It involves seeds and spices. 10. Seeds, nuts, and spices. Bringing a bag of trail mix, sunflower seeds, or even spices feels like a safe snack option. Unfortunately, in 2025, these items are some of the most tightly restricted foods when traveling internationally. Seeds are the biggest issue. Many countries now consider them invasive species risks. Customs officers in the US, Australia, and Europe all screen heavily for raw or sprouting seeds. Nuts can sometimes fall under the same rules if they're unprocessed. Spices present a different problem. TSA treats them as powders. If they're over 12 OZ, they trigger extra screening, and unlabeled spice packets often get tossed. One traveler flying from India had her turmeric powder confiscated because the bag wasn't clearly labeled. Another had sunflower seeds taken at the border, along with a hefty fine. The solution? Bring only factory-sealed, clearly labeled seeds or spices under 12 Oz. Avoid raw seeds altogether unless you declare them. Otherwise, you risk losing them and possibly facing penalties. But if you thought seeds were strict, just wait until the bonus rule about oversized snack bags. It catches everyone off guard. 11. Frozen foods. Frozen foods feel safe because they're solid at the time of screening. But in 2025, TSA is treating them with extra caution. If your frozen lasagna or bag of frozen veggies starts thawing, it's suddenly a liquid. Security officers have wide discretion, meaning your food could be tossed even if it's just slightly soft. Why? Because melting frozen foods can leak, creating both hygiene issues and the same security concerns as other liquids. Airports also deal with complaints when thawing foods smell or leak into luggage bins. A traveler bringing frozen fish from Alaska to Seattle was allowed to board with a cooler, but only after proving the fish was rock solid. Another passenger wasn't so lucky. Her frozen stew partially melted and was confiscated in Atlanta. The only safe way is to freeze your food solid, double bag it, and use hard coolers that don't leak. Even then, be prepared for extra screening. If frozen foods feel uncertain, the next one is downright sneaky: chocolates and candies. 12. Chocolates and candies. Candy feels like the last thing TSA would care about. But in 2025, chocolates and candies have found themselves under scrutiny. Some fillings are considered liquid under the 3.4 Oz rule. That means soft caramel centers, cream-filled truffles, or liqueur chocolates can get flagged. Security sees them as tricky because scanners can't always differentiate fillings from gels or explosives. Customs adds another layer. Many countries restrict candies with alcohol or dairy components. One traveler returning from Belgium had to surrender boxes of liquor-filled chocolates. Another was delayed when TSA officers in Boston swabbed her fudge to check for suspicious substances. If you want candy, stick to solid bars, hard candies, or sealed bags. Avoid gooey or alcohol-filled treats, and always declare them if they're duty-free. But while chocolates are a sweet surprise, the next restriction hits travelers where it hurts: jerky and dried meats. 13. Jerky and dried meats. Beef jerky, dried fish, and biltong are popular travel snacks. Unfortunately, 2025 regulations made them one of the most confiscated food items on international flights. Why? Even though they're dried, jerky products are still classified as animal goods. Customs bans are strict, especially for travelers entering the US, EU, and Australia. TSA may allow them domestically, but once you hit international borders, they're often seized. Disease prevention is the reason. Authorities worry about pathogens surviving in dried meat, even when vacuum sealed. A backpacker flying from South Africa had $200 worth of biltong taken at customs in London. Another traveler in Los Angeles said her bag was flagged for beef jerky, which was confiscated before boarding her flight to Tokyo. The safe play? Buy jerky inside your destination country. Or, if traveling domestically, keep it factory sealed and labeled. Otherwise, expect to lose it at the gate. And if you thought jerky was risky, the next category, eggs and dairy, is even trickier. 14. Eggs and dairy products. Eggs and dairy may not seem like travel foods, but plenty of seniors and families carry boiled eggs, cheese spreads, or milk-based drinks. TSA and Customs in 2025 made these some of the most unpredictable items to pack. Liquid dairy, like milk, yogurt, or cream, automatically falls under the 3.4 Oz liquid rule. But even solid-looking dairy isn't always safe. Soft cheeses like brie, ricotta, or queso fresco get flagged as spreadable, meaning they're treated as liquids. Eggs are another problem. Raw eggs are banned on most flights, while cooked eggs sometimes get pulled aside. One traveler was stopped in New York with a carton of boiled eggs. TSA agents allowed them, but customs agents in Canada confiscated them at arrival. Another had her soft cheese removed in Paris despite it being vacuum sealed. To play it safe, bring hard cheeses like cheddar or Parmesan. Skip eggs altogether unless you're certain about the rules. But if eggs and dairy sound confusing, the next restriction takes things up a notch. Seafood. 15. Seafood and shellfish. Seafood can be delicious, but in 2025, it's one of the riskiest foods to carry. TSA allows sealed, solid seafood domestically, but once you involve ice, sauces, or strong odors, things get complicated. Security officers often stop travelers carrying shellfish, shrimp, or crab, especially if packed with ice. If the ice isn't fully frozen, the bag is treated as liquid and gets confiscated. Customs adds another layer. Raw seafood is often banned due to contamination risks. A fisherman in Alaska packed fresh salmon to bring home. TSA allowed it when frozen solid, but customs at his destination confiscated the shipment because it wasn't commercially packaged. Another traveler carrying dried squid from Japan lost it at U.S. Customs for being unlabeled animal product. If you want to travel with seafood, keep it frozen, factory sealed, and labeled. Even then, prepare for extra screening. And if you think seafood is complicated, the upcoming bonus tip will really surprise you. It's something almost every traveler has in their bag. Bonus tip: oversized snack bags. Here's a new one that blindsides travelers in 2025. Airlines have quietly started counting oversized snack bags as an extra carry-on. That means if you walk up to boarding with a big tote stuffed full of chips, cookies, or meal containers, you may be charged the same fee as bringing a second bag. Why? Airlines argue that bulky snack bags take up bin space and slow boarding. Gate agents are now trained to spot them, and seniors especially have reported being surprised with last-minute $35 or $50 charges. It feels sneaky, but it's completely within the fine print of airline policies. And one traveler said she was stopped at the gate in Dallas and told her grocery tote counted as an extra carry-on. She had to pay $40 on the spot or throw away the snacks. Others report being asked to repack snacks into their main bag before boarding. The fix is simple. Pack snacks flat in your main backpack or suitcase. Use resealable slim packs instead of bulky bags. It saves money, time, and a lot of unnecessary stress. Travel rules change fast, and food is one of the sneakiest traps. Which of these bans surprised you the most? Have you ever had to toss out snacks at TSA or customs? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And remember, safe packing means stress-free flying.